What's going on, team? Welcome to an episode of the Keep Going Podcast, Season 2. This is your co-host, Luke Wheat, coming out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Before the show starts, make sure to follow us on our socials, okay? Twitter, the Keep Going Pod, Insta, the KG Podcast, and YouTube at the KG Pod. Just a reminder that we are not psychiatrists and not psychologists, just a couple ex-athletes trying to make a difference and end the stigma of mental health. Thank you guys for listening, and let's get to the show.
That keep going moment.
My keep going moment.
That's my keep going moment.
Let's keep going.
Team, to episode 53 of the Keep Going Podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health. This is your co-host, Luke Wee, coming out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm joined here by Pat O'Malley. Pat, where are you coming out of, buddy?
Yeah, I'm actually by the crib today, which is kind of odd. I'm on the bike. I'm at Roscoe, Illinois, but having a great Thanksgiving weekend. Colton, where are you coming out of today, brother?
Man, I'm a little further south than you fellas. I'm Galveston, Texas, down here at the beach, about an hour south of Houston.
Okay.
Beautiful.
You a Texas boy from Texas?
Yeah, from Texas, born and raised. Grew up in the San Antonio area, the Hill Country, and my family and I, we live just north of Houston now in Spring, Texas. So, yeah, Texas is a spot.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
And Luke, you said you're coming out of Knox. Where are you at right now?
Yeah, I'm in Knox right now. It's called Corrington, but yeah, basically Knoxville, so it's good.
Beautiful, man. Well, hey, we're all kind of stationed up. No one's in the Arby's drive-through or anything. Like, we're all ready to go today, which is good. But, Colton, something that we do before we introduce you, man, this is episode 53. We always shout out a specific sports player in any major sport. Do you got a number 53 for us today?
53. This is one of my favorite games, but I am struggling with the 53. I'm gonna give a maybe 53, maybe like a Bill Romanowski Broncos 53, maybe. I don't know.
That's
all
a
right.
good.
I'll have fact-checking after the fact, Luke. How about you, man? You got 53?
Man, I'm losing it. Somehow this sneaks up on me every week. It's like we don't do it every week. It's like.
So I'll tell you this though, Bill Romanowski, and I got to shout out. Who knew we were going down this rabbit hole early on? But Bill Romanowski is one of my favorite NFL blitz defensive players of all time. Broncos on those teams with Elway, Terrell Davis, Sharp, man, Bill Romanowski was a beast. So if that ends up being 53, that might be one of my favorite picks of the season, straight up, first and foremost. Second thing, after going through every Bears linebacker for the last 20 seconds here, TJ Edwards is number 53 on this year's team.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. Yeah, the Chicago Bears.
Look, we got Urlacher, we got Briggs all coming up like after this. So we'll be good.
We'll start getting into the linemen as well a little bit further on, almost the 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, man. Let's just start Googling those as they come about. But awesome. Well, we're off to a great start today. We got Colton Palmer in the building, and if you can't tell, I'm super juiced about it. So, Colton, something that we ask our guests every week. What'd you do this week for your mental health?
Man, I tried to stay consistent, with it being Thanksgiving week, traveling, right? We're going to, my folks' house. We're driving down to the coast, so it's not like it was my normal week where I've got my routine, right? My habits, but these last few days, especially, around the holiday, just, again, reflecting on blessings, right? Reflecting on, things that we take for granted, like health, mental health, physical health, again, family, friends that we get to spend time with and enjoy, again, being in their presence. That's what life's about, right? It's about those relationships. And so when it comes to my mental health, and again, this week being a little bit different, especially here at the beach, I really utilize my mornings. So, we're on vacation, we're running around, but I would be able to wake up and, this morning, for instance, I was out by the beach at about 5:45. I had a book with me and just got to reflect, and, I'm reading, but I'm also just enjoying life and again thanking my lucky stars, thanking the Lord for everything that he's brought to me, and again that kind of centers me and that kind of gets me to where I need to be, to where, hey, let's get the day going and let's have that attitude of gratefulness.
Absolutely, man.
I'm about to say, I might take a nap so I can start my day again, man. That's firing me up. Luke, what's up with you, man? What'd you do this week?
Get to the beach, get a book in the hand, and just kind of have a couple hours to myself and meditate a little bit. No, that sounds like a beautiful morning. What a way to start off the week, though, right? You're coming from Thanksgiving break. I call it break because I'm a high school teacher. For me, pause within the school year. But yeah, man, it's a little Thanksgiving with the family, and you're thankful for everybody around you. That's amazing. We also want to take a little bit of time and just say, we know the holidays can be tough for some people. They've lost loved ones near this time of the year. It's always a reminder for some people of some hard times. Our DMs are always open. You can always hit up me and Pat if anybody on here listening had a little bit tougher of a break. Guys, just let us know. We're here to talk to you. We're here to help you all out, and we can kind of walk you through some stuff to get in a little bit more positive of a mindset. So yeah, just want to be with our guys that aren't having the best of week as well.
No, Luke, I love that, man. It's a good reminder. And I think a lot of this stuff we can try to control, right? We get up early, we do our meditation, we do our devotionals, higher power stuff, whatever it may be that you do. I'm not going to tell you what to do in the morning. But when you get into these days, some of these days can be a little bit tougher, right? You don't know what people are going through. Like Luke said, there's a lot of joy during the holidays, but there's a lot of PTSD. There's a lot of tragedy. There's a lot of challenge that comes with it. So I'm going to challenge all of our listeners, and something I tried to do this week: double down on the kindness, double down on the giving, because, man, you just don't know this time of year. You just don't know. So I just want to be clear on that as well.
No, I think it's those things. Time is check on your happy friends. That I think at this time of the year that kind of hits hard with me. So that's something that I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks as well. Go ahead, Pat.
No, I love that, man. I think just going out of your way this time of year is so crucial. And every time of the year, but especially during the holidays when it might not be going as well as what we're describing so far. And that's okay. You'll get through it. You'll keep persevering. You'll keep moving on for sure. But where I was going next, Colton, I know, like I said, you're having a beautiful Thanksgiving weekend. You got a beautiful family that you're traveling with, and we appreciate your time. But walk our listeners through why you're here. Why did you feel like you were a good fit to jump on the Keep Going podcast today?
Well, Pat, me and you have known each other for years. We met through our work, through our company that we work for, and I think that was by no accident. And so as we've grown in our relationship and been somewhat of accountability partners over that time, I know that I've grown. You've seen me grow in multiple aspects of my life, and so I feel like I have a lot to maybe bring to the pod today, just because of my background, and again, going from where I identified the majority of my life as athlete first, and then transitioning into real life where I'm dad, right? I'm a husband. I'm a employee. I try to be a leader, and so all those things have kind of made me who I am today at 33 years old. And again, whatever I can shed, from my past or my experiences to maybe relate to a listener or help somebody get through something, I'm more than willing to do that. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for the opportunity to hop on this morning and again just kind of chop it up with you fellas.
33 day over 5. 33 doesn't look a day over 25. This is amazing.
What I was saying, man, this guy's a handsome man. If you're listening, this is a shameless plug for the YouTube. We got the handsome guys on today with great hair. I just got to say that. But Colton, for our listeners that maybe don't know you as well as I do, I know Luke is getting to know you today as well. Walk through the early years, early Colton Palmer. How did we become this high school standout, this college, player, all this stuff that we're touching on? Walk through younger days for our listeners.
Yeah, man. Always been into sports, since I can remember. I've been playing everything, and football was kind of where I had most of my passion. But yeah, I played everything growing up. My dad was a coach, a football coach for the high school team. He coached track there as well. And so I was always active, even if it wasn't organized, just out in the yard, throwing the ball or out in the driveway shooting hoops, whatever the case was. That's what we did. And it was, growing up in the hill country in the 90s, I felt like maybe I was one of the last generations to have that really free childhood to where, Saturday morning I'm clocking out at 9 a.m., getting on my bike, and I might not be home until supper time. So I know that my daughter, certainly we have more, limitations or making sure that we know where she's at all the times. But that really led to, again, getting into, junior high and high school. We had a really good athletic program at the school district and the school that I kind of went through growing up. AAU track was huge for me. My dad got me into AAU track at age 8. And until then, I hadn't been anywhere further than Austin, Texas. But AAU track allowed me to get, to all corners of the United States. I got to go to nationals for years there. And that was really, really fun. Just being able to travel and get out of the Texas and kind of see some different parts of the world, meet different people. As I got into high school, again, especially getting older, playing quarterback for a pretty successful team. And when you guys think Friday Night Lights, Texas high school football, that's Kerrville, Texas, baby. I lived it, man. And so that really led to, again, a lot of opportunities. Eventually interest from some universities and getting some coaches coming down to watch me play. But yeah, that's kind of the background on your boy, and again, kind of how I got into sports after sports, right? Seeking getting back into sports, and that's again what me and Pat do on the Monday through Friday. So
absolutely. And before we get for those of y'all that don't know, Colton was a player at University of Incarnate Word in San Antonio. Before we get to that, what was it like to be coached by Pops in high school? What was that like?
Yeah, shout out Mr. Palmer. This is where I was going.
Yeah, again, it wasn't too different just because he was my track coach, right? We were going to the track every single day during the summer, so it wasn't too different. But I guess look at it this way, guys, like there was a little bit of a complex for me on the field, right? In practice. Do I call him dad? Do I call him coach? And again, that kind of flip-flopping on that. We figured it out as we went. As I got a little older, I kind of stopped playing on the defensive side of the ball. I just focused on offense, and he was a defensive backs coach. So we didn't have to, maybe spend as much time together as he did with some other players.
Okay.
Love it, man. Love it. And I want to expand on that. You mentioned your dad right away. And for people that don't know Mr. Palmer, I don't know him personally. The only time I know him from is through the Johnny Manziel doc, where he had a famous cameo. They better pay my guy, by the way. They better pay him at some point. But beyond football, tell me what your parents meant to you and your family growing up.
Everything. And probably similar for you guys. You don't really look at it when you're growing up as like, man, I'm so lucky that I have this foundation, right? And maybe growing up, and some of my friends didn't have the home life and the structure that I was fortunate enough to have. But no, it was great, because not only did my parents try their best and do their best to always put us in good situations and provide us with everything we need and push us to be our best, and really again live through faith to exercise our full potential. But that's something that I really admire about them, because it instilled something in me that now I'm instilling with my family and with my wife and our daughter. So that's been huge. Pat, when I was 12, my mom got out of teaching and she got a job with our church there, and that changed the trajectory for everything, because we went to church, like a lot of families, for Christmas and Easter and maybe a few weekends other than that. But that really got us, going to church every Sunday. We were active with our youth group, and again, really just surrounding ourselves with the word and with good people. And that certainly was a good thing for me and my family, and again, growing up. And then having my dad always there, at school. He was a teacher. He was a coach. He was a FCA leader. He's a leader in the community. Again, that was something that I always knew that was great. You know, it was awesome to have. But now that I've gotten older, I've looked back and really have a lot of thankfulness and appreciation for it.
No doubt. No doubt. Luke, go ahead.
No, absolutely. And I think when we talk about sports, we're talking about more than just playing the game. And that's what kind of strikes me at first with Colton, right? This is more than just going and playing quarterback on Friday night in Texas, right? And that's an important thing because it's massive for the community. You've got thousands of fans there for high school and Texas football. But, man, it was more about serving your community through doing what you could do and living through him. So that's what kind of sticks out to me there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Completely agree. And Colton, and we touched on this a little bit in the beginning, but this is a tough time of year for people, right? You know, our listeners right now are going, this Colton Palmer guy, man, he gets it. He's got to kind of figure it out. And I think a lot of the times you've leaned on your support group, you've leaned on your faith. For people out there searching for something right now, what advice would you give for them, especially this time of year?
It's tough, Pat. Like you said, it's everybody's going through something. Everybody's got something that maybe they're going out and living but trying to mask. And I think that for people that are looking for peace, are looking for a source of joy, find yourself seeking out whatever, again, makes you feel whole. And when I say that, I mean, you can be yourself. You don't have to pretend that life's great. You don't have to pretend everything's sunshine and rainbows. Put yourself in situations like that. For me, I found it in the Word. I found it in small groups. I found it through the church. And I know that works for me, and I know that that's not for everybody. But I can tell you that the majority of churches will accept and, again, be able to provide resources, being small groups, other people in similar stages of life. I think finding yourself around people and realizing how much people do care about you, and other people. I think that is something that goes by the wayside a lot of times these days in a world where everyone tries to stay somewhat private, somewhat secluded, while also looking at everyone else's social media. So again, try not to, look at anything as comparison. Don't have that eye of judgment thinking, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. Be grateful for what you have. And again, find those special people in your life that can help and can give you encouragement and provide some guidance and maybe just a shoulder to lean on when you need it.
Love it, man.
That comparison piece is tough, right? That's something that I see every day. That's something that I see every day with high school kids is the comparison piece. And it's not like it's a new thing. It just feels more exaggerated now. Comparing yourself has always been a pitfall or whatever you want to call it. But now you're comparing yourself to thousands of people instead of just, the couple hundred that are in your graduating class or the couple people that are in your high school, blah, blah, blah. Now it's kind of extended on, right? So making sure just to know where you're at in life and where you're trying to be in life, and that's going to set you down the right path.
Yeah. You against you, man. It's just you against you. And the second that we start looking to our left and right, looking for that pat in the back or looking for someone else's game plan, we have issues with that. Take bits and pieces of everything you know and make it your own. And it's always going to be bigger than just you. I think that's a great reminder. I think those are great nuggets throughout. Speeding up the timeline. You go on to become a Division I wide receiver, Division I student athlete, get to play at a great program in Texas and really move on your career. Talk about your college experience. Dad's gone now. You're getting away a little bit away from home, not too much, but you're in a position where you're playing Division I at a high level. Walk me through your college years and how that went for you.
Yeah, Pat, it was great. And again, it was one of those things where, different circumstances, different things that, led me to get, multiple offers from multiple schools. And then, weigh out some of those different options and choose the opportunity to go on and play at UIW at the University of Incarnate Word. But it was a great experience. You know, I tell you, it was difficult at times. Coming in, I thought I was pretty hot stuff, and you know, you realize when you're the best player at your high school, or you know, one of the top, you know, athletes,
especially in Texas.
Kerrville, right? Yeah, exactly. And then you go out, and now everyone is that best player from their high school, right? And so, what was a little bit tough for me early on is just my freshman year not getting a lot of playing time. We had a guy that had transferred in from Texas Tech, played the same position that I did at wide receiver, so he got the start, and again, he was great, and really I learned a lot from him. But getting through that year, and then having a lot of success, and getting, you know, a lot of opportunities to get on the field my sophomore junior year, and then from that point, again, we were at an early program coming in those first few years. Incarnate Word, that's, you know, started their football program, so 4-6, 5-5, 3-7, you know, again, trying to fight, you know, find any wins that we can. But that definitely brought us together, where my best friends to this day are the guys that I played those 4 years with, because that's all we had, right? We had the locker room, we had each other. We knew what we were going through. Not that, you know, again, other athletes didn't, but it was something where we really had to lean on each other. So that was, you know, great, just with the camaraderie aspect. And that's what, you know, I think a team is all about, is being able to be that unity for one another. But after my junior season, we had a coaching change, right? So the coach that recruited me left. We got a pretty big name guy who had, you know, previously had some, you know, offensive coaching experience in the NFL even. So, you know, I was fired up. Everyone was fired up. And what happened, and I think this happens in a lot of situations at a lot of different programs, but he brings a lot of players with him, right? We've seen it in Colorado with Prime, right? But he brought a lot of guys in. He recruited a lot of his own guys, to where, you know, he had made no promises to me. You know, again, the promises the previous coach had made in my living room, that didn't matter. So my senior year, I played all special teams, 0 catches, right? And it was tough, man. That was probably the toughest season I had ever gone through as an athlete, just because I got so unmotivated, right? Like, how, you know, going back to practice every day, and you're running these wide receiver drills. I'm like, all I'm doing is kickoff return, right? And punt team. But that was tough. But like I said, looking back on it, no regrets, because that built me into, again, the young man that I was leaving college, and then the man that I am today. So that's, in a nutshell, guys, kind of those 4 years in college playing football. And then you know, as you guys know, you know, after athletics, right, that transformation period where you got to figure out what your new identity is. You know, again, you're not being asked to be at the facility 20-25 hours a week. So again, that was kind of what got me to, you know, again, graduate in 13, and then go on with life from there.
So talk to me a little bit here, Colton. You know, you go to Incarnate Word, tough freshman year, but that's pretty typical for every freshman. Make some decent starts sophomore, junior year, and then you get through the tough senior year. What did you learn about yourself along the way?
Yeah, I learned that sometimes, again, when it's not going your way, circumstances seem quote unquote unfair, that it doesn't change who you are, right? Again, I could be mad, I could be pissed that something's not happening the way that I want it to, but again, at the end of the day, looking at who am I, right, to say what I deserve and what I've earned, you know, kind of thing. But you know, the lessons I learned is not only patience but support. I had a 18-year-old freshman starting over me when I'm 22, right? And I've played a lot more football than that kid, and having to teach him again, you know, and want success for him didn't come naturally for me, but doing it, I did find that when he did have success, I was also enjoying in that success, because I felt that I had something that I could, you know, provide and help him out with. So that, you know, again, I wasn't saying I was perfect through it, but definitely something that, made me realize, again, sometimes in life, you're not going to get the fair hand, right? Or the best hand. You still can persevere and get through it and find good in it.
Man, I'm absolutely loving this. And it goes back to that quote that I touched on it with a couple of natty champions at Clemson a couple weekends ago. You either pivot or you punt. And you could have easily punted, and people would have been like, Colton, you had a great career, man. You go ahead and punt your senior year. You've had a great run. I don't blame you. You got screwed, Colton. You got screwed. I bet you probably heard that from some certain people. Instead, you chose to be service first, team first. What can I do to be better in this situation? And I think, if I'm hearing this correctly, it's helped you outside of football when you had to make that identity transition into the real world. That's powerful. I think that's amazing because we have athletes jumping in the portal like they're jumping in a pool in the summertime. Like it's that common. Like it's crazy how that dynamic kind of goes. But I think in this situation, you knew it was out of your control. What could you do to make an impact? And like I said, I think it's helped you not only in your professional life now, but as a father, as a man of faith, as a person. You wouldn't mind expanding on that?
Absolutely. And again, it was actually one of those things where, like many things in life, where we don't see the blessing in the moment, right? It's almost still afterwards when we look back. But it was definitely that for me because, again, putting myself so into my performance, so into what I'm doing on the field on a Saturday or on a Friday for so many years. And then, like you're saying, to an extent, having that part of me taken away, right? And feeling slighted. My dad's, I'm calling him asking for advice, and he's got my back, right? He's got my best intentions, but he's like you're saying, you're getting screwed, man. It's not fair. And he's got it up to here with the coach. So getting through that, but also being able to start to realize life outside of just between those white lines, right? Between the hash marks of, I started taking my studies more seriously because guys, up until that point, again, school never was something that was like super like challenging for me. But all I did was like, I got good grades because I wanted to play, right? And again, higher GPA, people looked favorable upon me. So I put myself bare minimum, but again, doing what I needed to do to get A's and B's. As I was kind of realizing, hey man, I've got a couple months to figure this thing out, right? Before, real life's going down. And I don't have this scholarship that I'm leaning on every semester. I started taking my studies more seriously. I started really getting into, after hours, what do you call it? Study hours with my professors, and really realizing, hey, I want to do something in life to help young athletes, to help young people. And so really getting into that coaching, that teaching field that I was studying in as a kinesiology major there, and then being able to take that after graduation, get into the coaching field, put my best foot forward there, get a graduate degree. It really allowed me to have that transitional moment mentally in the moment, instead of being like, okay, last game senior year, oh crap, now it's over. I had a little bit more time to start figuring that out. But again, I know everyone's a little bit different, but that's kind of expanding on that time and that year, and again what that did for me post sports.
Closed doors in apartments will open doors in bigger houses.
I like that. I haven't heard
Luke,
that one.
Luke, with this, while he's talking, I'm thinking about your story at Maryville.
Yeah, it's very
so relatable because once again, and I'm going to have you talk about it to the listeners too, because you came to mind, believe it or not, right when he started talking. You don't meet the love of your life if you don't stay the course.
No, absolutely.
You don't get into teaching. I want Luke to kind of expand because there's so much relatability here.
No, I thought it had some similarities as well, man. And Colton, I understand your pain, right? I was freshman year. There was a senior goalkeeper over me that I knew was going to start. Not that I wasn't working hard every day. Kind of like you, I knew my job was to push him to be better in training by putting some pressure on him, right? Wasn't the best goalkeeper, but I worked super hard that first year. and my technique wasn't great, blah, blah, fixed all that kind of stuff within like a year and a half. And credit to my goalkeeper coaches for some of the best guys out there. Still have relationships with them today. Sophomore year, started about 6 times, 6 to 7 times, which is almost half the year. And it was because of some disciplinary actions with a new keeper that was transferred in from a D1 program. And so for me, I'm like, okay, he's having some discipline stuff. How am I not the guy when I'm doing all of the stuff I need to do? We're winning whenever I'm in, blah, blah, blah. He gets back, comes in and starts over me. But I knew Maryville was where I needed to be because even if the coaches weren't playing me every weekend, I could tell they cared about me. Goalkeeper is kind of like quarterback in the fact that, you have a goalkeeper coach. Same thing with wide receivers. You have a wide receivers coach. And I had an unbelievable relationship with that coach. So I know I didn't want to just give that up just because I wasn't starting every week. Right. And it was a really difficult time, but I think I learned a lot about myself in giving up what could have been, an all conference career at another school in the same conference, just to take that backseat and give into the team at Maryville College. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with you, man, for sure.
No doubt. No
Absolutely.
doubt. And I mentioned Luke meets the love of his life there, and he meets friends that have been unreal that we connect through. And then all of a sudden we have there's just so much, man. There's just so much good, and there's beauty in the struggle. I know there's so much niche and so much cliche and black and white to that, but there's truly beauty in the struggle. So after, I wanted these guys to both talk on it because for our listeners, it's a lot of student athletes. Understand that it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows, like Colton said. It's not going to be every day I'm going to be the man, like Luke said. There's going to be setbacks, trials, and tribulations. How we get on the other side of those is going to carry us into beautiful things in the future. And I think that's clear today. Speaking of that, Colton, we ask our listeners, or we ask our guests every week for our listeners, their keep going moment every week. Tell me your keep going
moment. Yesterday morning, sitting out by the beach reading and just reflecting, like I said, really appreciating life. It's easy to do when you're looking over that horizon, seeing the sunrise. You can see how bright it is already now in the background here. But with my, again, just keep going moment, I was reading. I've got this Christian book that I've been going through the last couple of days. It's been really great, but there's this part where the author's talking about it's almost what you just said, Pat, like the delays in life when there's not the gratification that we expect or that we feel we deserve, and it's not happening now. It's not happening immediately. Be okay in the delay. And the guy's talking about, Jesus goes to the guy's house. He's the Jewish synagogue ruler. He comes to Jesus because his daughter's on her deathbed. And Jesus agrees, hey, I'll come over. I'll heal her. And on the way, the sick woman reaches out from the crowd and grabs Jesus's cloak. And think about what that dad's thinking, because Jesus stops and asks, who touched me? He felt his power leave and go into her. Who touched me? And that dad's saying, hey, time is of the essence now, dude. We got to get to my house because I don't know how many more breaths my daughter has. I know that's how I'd be feeling. Jesus stops, has this conversation with the woman. And then during that minute, they get word that the daughter has passed. Jesus says, don't worry, just believe. And then they go back on to the house. People are saying, there's no point. She's not breathing. She's dead. Jesus goes, no, she's not. She's just asleep. And that was my keep going moment, because of, I expect, hey, I did this. Now I deserve this. But be okay in that delay time, because we don't know what he's doing and how he's working everything in our lives. But we do know that if we're, again, living for him and doing what's right, then again, it's going to all make sense in the end. And we're going to get that gratification that we seek, if not soon, but sooner rather than later, it's going to happen.
I can't tell you enough, man. I think it's always bigger than us. Mm-hmm. If it's your higher power, if it's your religion, if it's the universe, if it's a mix of all three, it's always bigger than us. And the one thing that we can control is showing up every day and doing things the right way as the servant, doing the right way as a person, being the best that we can be. And I love that, man. I love that. Luke, what do you got?
No, it's funny Colton says that story because I kind of equate this to my church, right? Like we're here every Sunday morning, Pat, and we're always learning lessons of how to live a good life through other people. And it's interesting that Colton kind of took the Christianity aspect today as well, because this feels like my church every week whenever I get to hear from good people and the best ways to live your life. So really appreciate that story there, Colton, and you expressing your words this morning.
CP, it's truly been a pleasure having you. I think it's going to impact a lot of people, as a lot of our guests hear that from us, because I don't know if we know how to pick them, or the network is just fantastic. But you're a guy that we wanted to have on, and this was fantastic today. What I do want to ask you, I want to ask you two more questions. One, you had to say one thing to your younger self. What would it be? Start with that one.
Give more. I was always looking to receive things and wanted to have everything and do everything and get everything. But what I've realized growing older is that the more that I, like you just said, Pat, have that attitude of service and give back, give to people, that's when I'm getting the most. That's what I would definitely advise my younger self. And again, like everyone would say, when you're going through that hard time, those hard times, you think it's everything, right? Especially when you're 18, 19, 20. Just, again, I wish I could say, hey, get some sleep, man. It's not going to kill you. You're going to get through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Jake Glazer says all the time on his Unbreakable pod, he gets out of the gray when he shines his light on other people. That gets him back in the blue. That kind of inspired our background logo you're looking at right now. So I think that's super powerful, man. Second, we've been chopping it up for over 30 minutes now. Is there anything else you wanted to tell our listeners that you felt had value today?
I love this. I love what you guys are doing. I think that just the open forum that you guys allow the guests to have, but also, like you said, there's no accident that I'm here today. It's no accident that the 52 previous guests were on, and it's because of you guys. So again, if you're listening now, if this is your 53rd episode or your first, know that you can count on these guys to bring it every week. I know Pat personally. I like that me and Luke are beginning a little relationship, and we'll be friends too, I bet. But I think that if I had anything to say, I'd say, hey, if you guys are going through something or not, tune in on Sundays, because these guys are doing the thing. And again, the more awareness we have for mental health, for just what athletes go through, and again, if we can incorporate some faith aspects and some higher power, then I think that's always a good thing. So I appreciate you guys having me on. Let's not let this be the last time. Okay, boys?
100%, Cole. CP, appreciate you, bro.
Come back anytime, brother. I got chills throughout my whole body, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is why we're here. This is why we do this. And I cannot stress it enough from the bottom of my heart as we go into these powerful months, when there's a lot of holidays, a lot of things, a lot of triggers. My mom brought it up this morning. A lot of triggers. You got a friend in us. If you need anything, reach out to us. We might not have the answers, but we'll get you in touch with someone that can help you. I promise you that. And above all else, I think we'll cap this thing off. Keep going, boys. Love you guys.
Keep going, boys. Appreciate you, CP.
Thanks, guys. Take care.